Thanks, Matt. Just to take a step back, American officials, including from this building, had in previous months expressed doubts and concerns that Israel could sustain military engagements on two fronts, in Gaza and in the north. Has that assessment changed?
No, it certainly hasn't changed. I mean, if you look at our assessment, I would say a little more complex than that. It was not just that they would have a tough time sustaining a major military operation in Gaza and a major military operation in the north. It's also that additional escalation in the north was potentially destabilizing on the West Bank, and they would ultimately find themselves in a number of different confrontations. So that continues to be our assessment, that the longer conflict goes on, the risk you have of additional conflicts breaking out, and that is, puts the Israeli security services in an extremely stretched situation.
Without betraying the confidence of diplomatic conversations, does the U.S. have a clear picture of Israel's goals in the north in terms of how long they might stretch in time or geography?
We have discussed those goals with them, but obviously it's, I think, appropriate for them to speak to them publicly, not us.
Okay, and vis-a-vis Iran, similarly, without getting into what they might be targeting or what kinds of operations may be considered, does the U.S. have clarity on what Israel is considering doing, especially because steps that they've taken in the past have come with little advance notice and nonetheless require the U.S. to engage on the deterrence or defensive front thereafter?
We are having ongoing conversations with them about the options that they are considering, but I'm going to keep everything about those conversations private.
But you have clarity on their planning?
We have ongoing conversations with them. I just don't think it's appropriate for me to get into any level of detail, even about the types of things they're considering or the types of consultations that we are having.
Have they taken nuclear sites off the table following the president's?
I'm just not going to go beyond what I've said.
Okay. Does the U.S. believe that Israel striking nuclear sites would lead to a broader war?
So the president spoke to this yesterday, made clear that we do not believe they should strike nuclear sites. I don't want to deal with a hypothetical question beyond that.
I mean, it's not really a hypothetical.
It's an event that has not happened, so I don't want to.
It's a consequence of that.
It is an event that has not happened. I don't want to talk about potential outcomes.
Okay. But if there is a chance for Israel to lessen Iran's breakout time from a matter of weeks to a matter of months or years, does that not make them a less potent foe and lessen the likelihood of a regional war?
Again, we are well into the realm of hypotheticals and playing out scenarios that have not occurred. I don't think it's appropriate for me to get into that level of speculation from this podium.
Okay, and last one. Is there today any sort of messaging from the U.S. that it will condition future arms deliveries to Israel on a circumscribed incursion into the north and a minimizing of civilian casualties there?
So we have made clear from the start that we are committed to the defense of Israel and that we will remain committed to the defense of Israel. Our security partnership with them dates back decades, and we expect it to continue well into the future. We are also having conversations with them about the shape of that campaign, the scope of that campaign, what their targets are going to be, but I don't want to get into beyond that.
Just to follow up on how Israel could potentially respond to the attack that we saw on Tuesday. The president today did leave the door open to Israel going after Iran's oil reserves. Is it the assessment of Biden administration officials that going after those oil reserves would keep this conflict at the simmer that it's at right now?
So that's a little bit different question than the one Olivia asked me, but only because it's about a different target. It still asked me to speculate about the outcome of an event that has not yet happened, and I'm just going to decline to do that.
But certainly there must be a reason that the president feels that one action would be okay and another action would not be. So can you just help us understand the thinking of that?
So I'm not going. It would require me to get into a number of conversations that we have been having over the past 48 hours with our Israeli counterparts and that we continue to have, and I'm not going to do that from here.
Okay. Same area, a slightly different topic. Lebanese foreign minister told CNN today or yesterday that Hassan Nasrallah, before he was killed, had actually agreed to the 21-day ceasefire that the U.S. had been putting together last week. Is that accurate?
So I can't speak to whether he ever agreed to it and told somebody inside Lebanon. Obviously, that could be something that happened that we wouldn't be aware of. I can tell you that if that's true, it was never communicated to us in any way, shape, or form.
And you guys met with, Secretary Blinken met with Lebanese officials.
He did. We were having a number of...
and specifically discussed this 21-day ceasefire.
We were having a number of conversations with Lebanese officials as well as with others in the region, and I can tell you at no time was it ever communicated to us that Hezbollah had accepted a ceasefire.
But they were giving you confidence that they might, but it wasn't necessarily from Nasrallah?
So we were having a number of diplomatic engagements to talk about the proposals that we were going to put forward. I think all of the parties were well aware of the proposals that we were going to put forward, but at no time in those conversations did we get a message that Hezbollah had agreed or was going to agree to it.
Or Nasrallah himself?
Yeah, or Nasrallah himself. Well, I mean, that one and the same.